Hi, I'm Ashley Swartz, CEO and founder of Furious Mind. Very grateful to have been invited by Jack and his team for my first post. So, talked a lot about second screen, online video, measurement, all this stuff sort of in separate but equal conversations as it relates to the seismic shifts that are occurring in our industry right now. The reality is that they all sort of blend together, and what I want to try and do now is talk about them and pull them into a story that's actionable and really helps us as an industry drive an agenda towards innovation and driving ROI for marketers. I liken a lot of where we are right now to the sort of challenge that big data brought, right? We have this fire hose of data coming in that has the potential to make advertising investments drive greater return for marketers. But the reality is that it's causing us to re-architect and rethink how we do business, from the planning to the buying to the measurement end of content and programming. A lot of industries have had this challenge where the way they do business has been disrupted by technology and innovation. They've had to rethink and redesign how they go about their day-to-day jobs. We're in the same place right now, and I think we as an industry can tackle that. We start with measurement. VJ Rao had a great post on Online Video Insider a few weeks ago. Talked about the apples to apples ambition of OCR and ComScore's tool, et cetera. The reality is that despite the fact that we're using things like OCR to extend audiences beyond the television and the 10-foot experience to behaviors that are occurring in TV everywhere experiences. At the end of the day, you're not actually able to act against that data, right? So you can plan against it, you can measure against it, but you can't buy against it. The other thing that's really difficult is, the ambition of this was for a lot of programmers to be able to tap into TV dollars or, for example, some of the digital media shops only to tap into TV dollars. But at the end of the day, what TV buyers are finding is that digital is a lot more expensive on a CPM basis, right? So when you bring in data, you bring in targeting, you become more efficient, you eliminate waste. Those sort of macro, gross rating points buys in television that are 18 plus, when you start to bring in gender, household income, things like that, and third-party data sets, it becomes a lot more expensive. And that sort of, okay, what comes next is pretty difficult when you're trying to present to your client who is used to sort of high-level television buys that we're paying, a 30-40% premium for digital. It doesn't compute. It's a big hurdle the industry has to tackle. Audience behaviors are changing faster than we can keep up. I've said this time and time again, and I believe it's true, right? Business Insider is pretty bullish about the second screen with the report they came out with in February, and they extended the sort of multitasking stats to include daily behaviors, where 39% of television audiences are actually using companion experiences while watching television on a daily basis. That's a pretty notable number, right? And they're bullish because even though perhaps we don't have scale or critical mass where none of the second screen companion experiences are driving, that million-plus audience, which we sort of hang our hat on as scale in the industry, it's a $74 billion industry. That's its run rate, right? So if you can get 200 basis points in that industry, that's a lot of money to be had. But I think the issue is that despite the fact there is a large pot of money which we're going after, and even a small sort of percentage of that is notable, at the end of the day, we don't have the formats or the medium itself, right? So we have disparate channels, which is fine, disparate applications and experiences. But at the end of the day, we don't have an ad standard, right? We don't have an ad format. So it doesn't make it actionable on a scaled basis for advertisers. That's still a big hurdle to actually tap into the dollars that potentially the second screen offers when it relates to watching television. Bread is still buttered by the TV buys for all the programmers, right? And Social Guide, which was acquired by Nielsen last year, came out with a report that said that 32 million tweeted about television, 32 million uniques tweeted about television in 2012. We know that about 40% of Twitter traffic during prime time is about TV. So now they've actually offered some statistics in regards to how this is truly affecting ratings and driving value for programmers, right? So they noted three sort of very specific statistic corollaries. One, that increases in Twitter volume do correlate to increases in rating, right? And that skews, the corollary is greater for younger audiences. So for 18 to 34-year-olds, they found that an 8.5% lift in Twitter volume resulted in a 1% increase in ratings, right? Specifically for premieres. When they extended that to looking at mid-season episodic performances, they found that overall Twitter volume had a positive effect on rating points, which means that the ROI for programmers is there from the perspective of social. And so the social TV rating mechanic actually has the potential to drive the perceived value of the inventory up. What's this all mean, right? So I started out with talking about re-architecting and sort of rethinking how we work and what the jobs are in our industry, specifically as it relates to the planning and buying side of the business. At the end of the day, I think the biggest burden lies in the challenges for programmers, and we need to sort of reach out and partner with and help the guys on the TV side of the business and the networks, right? Storytellers and showrunners have a larger challenge than ever. It's not just about great storytelling, right? The media or the monetization has to get upstream, which we sort of say this in a product business, but the same goes for content and storytelling creation. At the end of the day, this is going to be a conversational channel, television in and of itself, and we need to think about that conversation when we're developing the storylines, whether it's marketing and native advertising and branded content, or it's actually on the big 10-foot experience. Real-time engagement is part of it, period, full stop, right? Regardless of the medium, more and more we know that certain genres of content skew heavier from a social perspective. At the end of the day, we have to think about how audiences are interacting together and with the content while they're viewing it from point zero and green light of any content that we create in the industry. And we need to think about new jobs, right? So we talked about the data jockeys and the geeks and them becoming part of Madison Avenue, right? But we need to also think about the fact that we need social producers for every television program. And those social producers are the ones that are actually going to drive the value for the networks and for marketers, which is where we're going to see the lift in the value of television as a result of audiences being more engaged. Thanks so much for having me. Bye.